and everybody that I've talked to there has agreed to do that. If they were thereafter want to go on to their home state and hometown, we will pass on the information to the public health officials in that jurisdiction so that they can be actively monitored there for the remainder of their incubation period.
Meanwhile, World Health officials back from a visit to Beijing are expressing great concern that the dangerous new virus is starting to spread between people outside of China. Sophisticated hackers infiltrated UN offices in Geneva and Vienna last year in an apparent espionage operation. Their identity and the extent of the data they obtained is not clear. On Wall Street, the Dow by 11 points, the Nasdaq rose 5, but the S&P declined 3. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Bastion Gorka here. Maybe you've been hearing about Relief Factor, the 100% drug-free supplement that helps a person's body deal with inflammation and pain. You've heard all the wonderful testimonials. Well, I have my own testimonial. For many years, my lower back pain was becoming a serious problem. The short story is, I finally gave it a try, and now I'm out of pain too. So if you're in pain, you can order the 3-week quick start for just $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com.
This is Carl on his motorcycle.
Let's ride till we run out of gas!
And this is Carl off his motorcycle.
Balsa wood is very different than teak. People confuse the two.
On his motorcycle.
Hey! Check out that view!
Off his motorcycle.
Let's do puzzles in the break room.
On.
Look at all that open road!
Off.
Look how long my fingernails are getting.
You're better on your bike. Progressive helps keep you on it. Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The Syrian army says it has recaptured a strategically important town in Idlib, Syria's last rebel-held province.
According to the Syrian army, it approached Marat al-Numan from 3 sides. The military says it clashed heavily with jihadi fighters who withdrew to the north, ceding control of the town to the government. It straddles a major highway that's been an objective for the army as it's pushed slowly up through Idlib province in recent weeks. Ahead of the advance, hundreds of thousands of civilians have fled the fighting and airstrikes.
BBC correspondent Alan Johnston. Mexican authorities say 3 inmates facing extradition requests from the United States have escaped from a Mexico City jail. Officials gave few details on how or precisely when the escape occurred, but an official in the capital's jail system says it appears some 6 to 10 workers at the jail were involved. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. McDonald's wraps up a tumultuous year on a high note after the company's CEO was ousted in November.
The burger giant surpassed $100 billion in annual sales for the first time and notched its highest same-store sales in more than a decade, with growth in all of its global regions. Even as the company transitions to new leadership and puts a rocky year behind it, potential hurdles have already emerged in 2020. One includes the shuttering of restaurants in 5 Chinese cities as a new virus spreads through the country.
Correspondent Jeremy House reporting. Britain's departure from the European Union has been backed by European lawmakers after a debate that mixed warm words of love with hard-headed warnings to the country not to seek too many concessions during upcoming trade talks on a future relationship. The European Parliament overwhelmingly approved Britain's departure terms from the EU, the final major decision in the 4-year Brexit saga. More on these stories available at townhall.com.
The following is an America Matters Media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
Welcome to this evening's episode of Rush Hour. I am your host, Kelly Rush, and we are a production of America Matters Media, the home of quality conversation. You can check us out on the web at americamatters.us. That's americamatters.us. And we're also on Facebook at facebook.com/Reno Rush Hour. That is also my Facebook handle. The hell's a Facebook handle, Kel? It's also my Twitter handle. So you can follow me there and like me on Facebook. I would appreciate that. And then you'll get notified every time we do this fun thing. Oh, Anita, you forgot to log out again. Honey, baby, Sweetie, please. You gotta remember to do these things. Somebody's gonna hack your stuff, and we wouldn't want that. So, anyway, I'm gonna log out, and then I'm gonna re-log in as me.
While you're doing that, it's worth mentioning that your show's also on YouTube on the America Matters Media YouTube page and the Rush Hour Radio page as well.
That's right. That's right. We are moving on up to the YouTube.
Oh, did you just say YouTube?
Yeah.
You did. Okay.
So I'm on Facebook/Reno Rush Hour and YouTube.
And Twitter.
And Twitter. Can you imagine?
What about LinkedIn? Should
No.
we get you on LinkedIn?
Nah, I dropped. I used to be on LinkedIn. Way too invasive.
It is. What do you mean?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? I mean, like what do you mean about that?
I mean, it's just, there's like so, I don't know. And then people want to offer you jobs and like they want to headhunt you and no.
Yeah, I just started a LinkedIn account.
I don't need LinkedIn. I don't want a job. No. I run a company. I don't need a job.
Social media, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah.
And I don't need Insta. I don't need Tumblr. None of that.
I just found out about YOLO the other day.
What the hell?
That's a
What?
teen thing. YOLO? Have you heard of YOLO?
You only live once.
I know
You
that's
only
a
live once, but
phrase.
the
Is
app.
that something people
there's
say?
an app?
There's an app.
Okay, I feel vindicated. The kid doesn't know what. There's some app, and the kid. Okay.
I learned from a 14-year-old. So, apparently this app.
Enough said. Okay, even he should feel vindicated.
But apparently people can just not identify themselves and just send you comments about you. And they know it's you.
So they can send you like nasty stuff, like anonymous stuff.
And you never know who it's coming from. And
what a bunch of schnikey.
And you know what? And I had some kiddos doing a podcast, and they were showing me how YOLO works. And I thought, wow, my mindset might not be able to handle that. Just random people telling me.
How in today's day and age does something like that even exist? With so much Me Tooing and down with bullying and all these. No.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're asking for it.
Honestly.
We're asking for it. Yeah, and I know some.
And people voluntarily sign up for this?
You sign up for it. The question I don't understand is I'm not sure if actually you go ahead and you ask a question and they reply, but my understanding of it is you have a profile and they know who you are.
Who knows who are? So the app knows.
The app knows who you are, maybe?
So you have
Somebody
to
knows about
somehow
this.
verify who you are and your identity and that you're a real person. And so if you start throwing nasty grams, somebody can track you down.
You know what? That's the thing I'm not clear on, but I believe you can't. I can actually look that up, but I don't think you can track down who sent the message to you. And I think, like, how disruptive and toxic. Yeah.
I don't get it.
No.
And I don't know why anybody would even want to participate in such a stupid thing.
Well, it's a new form of communication for teens. I think.
No, that's an old form of communication for teens that's just been digitized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And no, that's just really stupid, and I can't imagine parents would allow such a thing, and I can't. No.
So it's hugely. So I'm looking at it. It's through Snapchat. It's hugely popular with teens right now.
Oh, through Snapchat. That's even worse. So not only is it anonymous, it disappears. So there's no proof.
Yep.
Oh no.
But it's an anonymous app.
So it's it's a quick hit, basically PTSD machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And apparently if you get something really, really terrible sent to you, you can report it and YOLO will shut down whoever's account sent that terrible message, but you'll never identify who sent that terrible message.
Yeah, and it's too little too late, I would think. At that point, I mean, wow, that's not good. I don't, no. I'm pretty flabbergasted by this.
I know. I was pretty shocked. I just learned about it last weekend from a group of kids, and I thought, wow, life is complicated enough. Why take in information that you don't know who it's coming from?
Parents need to know about the YOLO app for Snapchat. Yeah, I would think so.
Exactly.
YOLO Anonymous Q&A. Share your link and let friends. Oh, so it's basically a slam book app. Remember slam books back in high school?
Were those got to have been written if that was back in high school? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Slam books or those little Chinese fortune
Oh, I know
tellers.
those. I know those.
Yeah, that's what this is. This is just a digitized version of those. Share your link and let friends tell you what they think. Reply directly in your stories.
Well, see, but with back then, if I was to think about a slam book, now I never came across one in high school. But if I was thinking about a slam book, at least I know who handed it to me, and I might be able to backtrack what went down.
Okay, so this is an anonymized.
Yeah, I don't feel like I would feel safe with that at my age. No thanks. No thanks.
Wow.
Yeah, we're trying to work on healthy brains all the time and then taking in that kind of
And
information.
then there's something like this. Wow. Receive honest messages. Reply in your stories. And it has a 4.1 rating? Huh.
Yeah.
This is, no, I don't like it. Thank God I don't have kids. People wonder. People still wonder. No. Okay, we got to go to a break, and we're going to go to a different topic when we come back. Because I'm just about this one. This is nasty. So, okay. Something else when we come back. I'm with Christy. Oh, and I didn't even introduce you.
I'd like to be anonymous. I could be anonymous like YOLO and just say whatever I want.
Christiana. I'm with Christiana Frank of Christiana Frank Consulting, among other things. And Christian Meyer, our wonderful engineer. We'll be back for the second segment of Rush Hour after these messages. Stay tuned.
Virginia City is the source of all the richness in the West. While today it brings us a summer of fun with camel races, cook-offs, street vibrations, outhouse races, parades, and many more events, it's never dull on the Comstock. A taste of all this richness can be found at Virginia City Kettle Corn Depot. Our kettle corn is made fresh every day with no additives, just coconut oil, sea salt, and some pure cane sugar. We also offer fresh caramel corn and white cheddar, to which we can add jalapeno. This summer we are adding freshly made cotton candy, and for hot summer days, Hawaiian shave ice, which on special occasions will offer some adult flavors like margarita, daiquiri, and pina colada. You can find Kettle Corn Depot at the south end of C Street, across from the Sheriff's Office. Our long-standing customers have faithfully been returning to Kettle Corn Depot since 2012. Come get your groove on in Virginia City.
Hello, I'm Omer Raines, author of the international best-selling book, Back to the Summit, How One Man Defied Death and Paralysis to Again Lead a Full Life of Service to Others. Now in its second edition, Back to the Summit has been reprinted in countries worldwide. All profits from the sale of this book go to support humanitarian causes of lasting importance. However, the principal reason for writing the book was to inspire others who, like me, have been faced with a major medical challenge. Back to the Summit is available in hardcover, paperback, or as an ebook. An audio edition is also available. Whatever the modality or format, it can easily be ordered on Amazon or from your favorite bookstore. Whether you read or listen to Back to the Summit, I hope that it will serve as an inspiration to you or to someone you know. Again, I'm Omer Raines. If you wish to learn more, my website is senorains.com. That's SENORAINS.com. Have a wonderful day.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
And welcome back to the second segment of today's Rush Hour. I am talking to Christiana Frank.
Hello.
Of Christiana Frank Consulting. Move the mic up just a little bit closer.
Thank you.
There
I'm not
you
used
go.
to radio.
And you're not used to radio.
Well, you're getting me used to radio, and I really appreciate it.
And you do a multitude of different things through Christiana Frank Consulting. One of them we do here now called Applied Improv.
Yes, that's my main jam.
And that is a very cool protocol. And I call it a protocol because it is, and I could throw all kinds of cool words, a new paradigm.
Ooh, I like that one.
A synergy shift in thinking, a new mindset.
A radical self-acceptance.
Yes. I mean, we could, I know all kinds of cool jargon, but what it really is a method of communication.
It's a method of communication. Yeah, it really is. It gives you the tools and the ability to practice these tools in a very fun and low risk environment. But I think the biggest message here, I'm always studying and trying to work with neuroscientists and about neuroplasticity, and I think the biggest message is no matter how old you are, you can keep learning. And then also to remember, if you're not using something, you're going to lose it in your brain. Your brain will prune and it'll prune it away. So especially in a day when we're not socially connecting face to face as much because of technology, it is, I feel, and I know a lot of people agree, but I really truly feel that practicing these live communication strategies with people not only matters for your success in reaching people, but also gives you that sense of self-love with the connection with the people.
That's really it. And I think the most important thing you said was continuing learning, but fun.
But fun. There's so much information coming out where there is so much information coming out right now that laughter, joy, we're talking about the happy chemicals in our body. It's not just that feeling you get of that love and acceptance, but it can change your health. It can change disease to laugh. So there's so much more. And where are you going to find that laughter? How are you going to generate that joy? And typically it's a lot easier when you're not just by yourself, when you're with another group of people and having a collective energy, so to speak. So, and it's like, what kind of collective energy do you want to generate? And in these environments, whether it's a social anxiety class that we had last night where the collective energy was a little bit more focused and calm and getting comfortable with, just being in the room. Some folks were there just trying to hold space by being in the room. And others where it's a public speaking, where there's business folks who are going, I need to connect more to my audience. What are those tools? Straight down to maybe a mom or a soccer mom or, just someone who's going, listen, I'm a little bit more hesitant starting up conversations at my kids' school, or I get a little bit anxious or a little bit confused when somebody comes at me with a conflict or a challenge, and all I'm dealing with is my body's reactions. I'm sweating or I'm shaking, and in that instance, your body's going into that fight or flight, and you're not getting what you need done. You're just dealing with where your reactive state.
And how does applied improv help people learn not to go into that reaction? How does that teach them to respond, not react?
Through practice. And I know that's kind of a generalized, like, we're just gonna practice. Somebody asked me to paint a picture for them before they came to a class last week. And, you know, we're not coming together for Christiana to sit there and talk about all this stuff that she knows. It's not a lecture. We're not doing workbooks, checking off boxes. But what we're doing is we're coming together, and I might explain a little bit about what matters to them, whether it's the public speaking or coming socially connected. You know, some folks are really getting, you know, geeking. I'm geeking out on it as well, about the neuroplasticity and what does that mean for my brain and my overall health, and how can I be the best in this moment. And, you know, that discussion maybe lasts, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes, unless there's a lot of questions on it, unless they want a lot of proof in the pudding, like the evidence and the research, which I typically email to them afterwards. I just take their questions. And then for the entire rest of the 2 hours or 3 hours, depending on which class, is we're doing we're practicing. So our nervous systems are able to be in this environment and to play off of another human. And the more humans in the room, the better it is, because what we'll do is we'll supply an activity or a challenge or an objective, which is moving, talking to another person, and then we'll switch partners. And you get to feel what it feels like to create that same story, whether it's your story or a story that was created with someone else's perception. And deal with how you're going to react with maybe a complementary response that matches yours, or somebody's response that's totally different than yours, and how to get your information out that you need without posing a conflict in the conversation, but keeping it a yes and. You know, I'm listening to you. It's that whole yes and thing that you can Google all over the internet, but I'm listening to you, and your stuff matters. You know, no matter how goofy my subconscious might think your information is, I'm going to go, no, I accept this as this matters. This is what matters to you. And here's how I can attach my information to your information. And now look, we have new information, or we have a new idea that I never would have had on my own.
No, it's no.
Yes and no.
No, but.
Well, I challenge it.
Yes, and.
For the folks listening out there, you know, I'll go and I'll run these trainings, and we'll get yes, and, and that's just one of the pieces of many, many tools. But with the yes, and then you'll go off into your day, and it'll kind of be like the nails on the chalkboard.
It is. The cognitive dissonance this creates is amazing, and it's true. And that's how you learn from it, and by the practice and continuing to go to these. And I think creating, you know, that's why I want to have it here at America Matters Media Studios, and that's why I think creating, you know, maybe an AI club, you know, that meets here or meets elsewhere, or has, you know, that has different meetings, you know, at coffee shops during the week, or different, whatever comes from it.
Well, exactly. And you know, since this station is global too, since you're global, you know, if the Applied Improv Network typically has, and we do this in Reno too, so we run these Applied Improv Network meetups, and they're free, and they're going to be here now at your station, which is really, thank you so much. And we're going to be here, but if you're traveling, these are all over the world. My colleagues are in the UK, of New Zealand, and we meet once a year, and we come together. Last summer was all about neuroscience, and we were up at the Center for Science up in upstate New York, and we meet and we develop and we build new approaches to this applied improvisation. And it's a huge movement where we're trying to say, listen, this isn't stand-up comedy. We're not going for the funny. I'm not going to bring you in the room
not that kind of
to laugh and tickle you, but we're going to, and sometimes, I mean, a lot of times we do laugh, because
absolutely,
when you put yourself to that limits, you mess up, and then we laugh and we enjoy the experience of growing together. So there's that. But this isn't comedy improv.
No, it's not standing up in front of a room and, you know, hey, for 3 minutes, you're going to, you know, make stuff up.
Right, exactly.
No, we're not. It's not putting people on the spot. It's improvisation in that, it's free form.
Free form. It's
improvisation in the free form, free flow, low risk. We're all supporting you. That kind of improv.
Yeah, and it's been very great. It's been very wonderful, rather, that the last few years, these really great articles and research have been coming out of Ivy League schools like Harvard and Stanford, and Forbes is starting to go, wow, look, if we bring these things in, Google is actually using applied improvisation. If we bring these things in, it's going to create this. And why I just say this is because there's so much. It can create a cohesive team. It can embed empathy and compassion.
Yeah.
It can come down straight to the basics, which is teaching somebody the power of nonverbal body language, and that is something that is getting a little bit lost these days, and teaching somebody the skill and the power of their tonality, or when to pause, when to listen. And I facilitate this sometimes, and I even run over you on the radio. I'll talk. But it's that constant practice. You don't go to the gym once and create a healthy body from the neck down. Just like our brains. Now, if we have neuroplasticity and we can build those muscles, why wouldn't we want to keep getting smarter, stronger?
Sure. Or, just making interaction easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Making communication with everybody you come across easier.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll be back for the second half of today's Rush Hour with Kelly Rush, Christiana, and Christian after these messages. Come on back with us.
Home at Last opens doors to family, to freedom, to finally making it yours. Home at Last, a program of the Nevada Rural Housing Authority, opens doors to rural home buyers with incomes of up to $135,000, providing down payment assistance of more than $22,000, plus access to our exclusive pet adoption program. From Gardnerville to Fernley to Carson City and even Sparks, rural happens here in every county in Nevada. Learn more at homeatlastnv.org.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
As humans, we ask ourselves all kinds of questions. But what if we were forced to ask ourselves a question every day that affected the outcome of the most basic things, the most important things in our lives? The question is, what is your sexual orientation or gender identity? And the answer is the difference between keeping your job or getting fired. The answer is the difference between staying in your home or getting evicted. The answer is the difference between receiving medical treatment or not. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against people based on their answer to this question. LGBT Americans have the right to say I do, but they don't have the same basic rights as everyone else. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
The nonprofit Reno Sparks Assistance League Thrift Shop is the main source of funding for 12 philanthropic programs. Staffed and managed by all member volunteers, they are proud of their reputation as one of the best and friendliest thrift shops in the Reno Sparks area. Their members work hard to make sure the merchandise is always of good quality, clean, and priced fairly. Come see for yourself at 1701 Vassar Street in Reno. Open 10 to 4, Monday through Saturday.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
And welcome back to the second half of today's Rush Hour. I am Kelly Rush, and like I said at the top of the show, we're a production of America Matters Media, and this is an interactive program. We would love to have you join us. So you can call us toll free. Yep, we'll even pick up the tab, 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255 from anywhere on the planet.
On the planet.
Yep.
Cynthia, are you? Oh, Cynthia's out there listening from Costa Rica.
Oh,
hello, Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia. Give us a call. Yep, we've got Eddie Floyd, Suzanne Brandon, Jeff Dunn, and Richard J. have tuned in on Facebook. So thanks for that, guys. And anybody else that wants to drop us a line there can do so as well. So lots of different ways to interact with us, and we would love to have you join this quality conversation if you have questions or comments for us. And so, yeah, that's what we do here.
I think it's pretty amazing what you're offering to the to globally, to the world. So
Yep.
thank you.
Community broadcast. We are we started as community radio 8.5 years ago, almost 9 now, and we are now a multimedia broadcast platform, and we are, online, on video, on podcast, on all of the major broadcast podcast platforms. And, we don't make you come to us. We'll meet you where you are at any time, any place. Oh, Richard Forsyth, darling, how are you? I am so happy to see you. Thanks so much for tuning in. And how are you, baby? I miss you so much. I miss our Sambuca days. I miss our libertarian days. Just sitting around talking about freedom. And we still do it here. We are the Freedom Network. We are the network for all conversation of all sides. I mean, you see our colors, all of it, we are all. We are the place for all.
Well, and then you're connecting, and that's the thing.
That's it. I mean, we have Talking Truth to Power, Richard. We have a program on Wednesday mornings from 11 to 12 Pacific time with Leland and Brandon Trainer.
Is that this Thursdays?
Wednesdays. This morning.
Okay.
11 to 12.
Yeah, we even coined a phrase, open mics for open minds.
Yeah.
Oh! Wow, we got excited about that. That's really great. Yeah, just being able to tell a story, being able to share your thoughts, your feelings, and your ideas, the power of speech.
Openly.
It's just be authentic. They're finding so much more research. I can't speak too much to it right yet because I'm learning about it. But now all these companies are absorbing, Fortune 500 corporations, all these places are absorbing the power of storytelling.
That's it. It's relatability.
We
are all in this life together. And, the mainstream media and, the politicians and the big corporations have a vested interest in making us think we're divided. But when we really actually have conversations with one another, we're really not as divided as we think.
I agree. I think there's so much that you can draw on from somebody or relate to somebody to bring it down to that level where you are me and I am you. And at the end of the day, if you look at somebody, whether they're driving that huge car headed to their hangar for their plane, or they're struggling and they're on the side of the street handing out, asking for money, I always like to look at people and think, I'm you, you're me.
We all bleed red.
We all breathe air. We all need to eat food, and connecting, because we're social beings, is extremely important for our health.
Connecting because we're human beings. Connecting, because we are spiritual beings. I don't care what religion you believe in. I don't care about what dogma, whatever, or what God, or what you call your God.
Matter.
It doesn't.
Do you like cats? I like dogs. Do you like it? Can all those differences can be there? But I'm looking at your logo on my computer right now in the America Matters Media, and I think one of the biggest through lines, I think, for me, and I'm just going to say this is for me, I feel so good when I feel like I matter, like I'm making a change, that I'm doing something that matters. It can just be to another human being. It doesn't have to be a big push, but that I matter. I like helping people feel like they matter, and I love feeling that I matter. And none of that is going to come around unless we connect with each other and have that conversation.
That's right.
Unless we have that confidence to have that conversation.
Right. And anybody that physically comes to our studios here, to which all are welcome, will see that.
Yeah, exactly.
Gather here. I have, on our walls here, gather here, cheers, kindness matters, hello, home.
Kindness Matters was Grant Denton here, Denton?
Oh, they used to have a show.
Oh, he did. Oh, him and Pat.
Recovery Brothers.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I did
Absolutely. But I put that up there, and I want people to come here and just the minute they walk in the door know that they're welcome, and that they're at home, and that
That sounds lovely. But
you know what I mean? That they can sit down and I'll have a conversation with them.
Exactly.
And
you'll make time.
I'll make time, to hear what they have to say. Now, I may not put them on air,
depending on what you have to say.
Right. It may not be appropriate, but I will personally, Kelly Rush will personally sit and give them an ear.
I think people need to make a choice, too, on that matter statement. If something really matters to you, then you can make time.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be a person, a place, or a thing, and that can be an idea. But if it really matters to a person, they typically make that time.
Sure.
And so you have to make that choice, and then we come stuck with people who, they go, okay, I've got the time, but now I don't know how to connect with someone.
Right.
And so
that's
my passion. So that's why I speak
That's what
to
the
it a lot.
workshops are about. That's what Applied Improv is about. Is, if you want to learn how to do that better, we will help you.
And just do it over and over again until it becomes your new normal. Sure. And it might be Applied Improv, and it might be something else. And I speak to it a lot because it really saved me. Coming from a space where I didn't do the eye contact and I couldn't stand with my shoulders back and I had my arms crossed and closed off, you really feel the benefits when you can let all of that go and be okay just being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it hurts being vulnerable, but I think it makes us stronger and better in the end.
Yes, and
good one.
There are people, however, who want to and can help avoid that hurt or lessen that pain, soften that blow, if you're willing to be vulnerable amongst us. Doesn't have to be, be willing to face that fear
together. But when you're in a group,
and maybe it's not so painful.
Especially when you're in a group and you're doing it with another person, I feel it's a little bit easier. I get a lot of people that come that are doing cognitive behavior therapy, and their therapist, counselor, they get very excited that they're taking on applied improvisation because they're learning these therapeutic benefits or what they're doing with their therapist, and they come here and it's like a nice little sprinkle on the cupcake where, okay, now we're going to put this to work and we're going to try it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep saying the low stakes environment because I can't think of another word, but it's in this environment,
low risk,
where you don't have to worry about, like, what if you did mess up? You're not losing your job. You're not losing a relationship. We're practicing what works and what doesn't work for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to behave like someone else. I can be the unique person I am.
Well, there is no mess up. There's just, finding, what doesn't work and trying another, that might.
Exactly.
And if that doesn't, trying another that might. And if that doesn't, trying another, just being in an experimental situation.
Right, where you can get feedback and people can reflect with you and go, this is how that made me feel when you did this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can polish it up if you want.
Sure. And having that other person go, okay, let's try another way. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. And, getting that positive,
Yep.
and over instead, so it's a great thing. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I feel that's all I talk about. It's my work. It's my life. It's all thing. And then throwing dogs.
We got to go to another break. We'll be back for the fourth and final segment of this insanity after these messages. Stay tuned.
Destination Midtown. Experience the difference. Reno's premier shopping extravaganza. Everything imaginable and more. Midtown matters. Get down to Midtown.
A new garage door from Overhead Door Company can drastically increase your curb appeal and security. Check out quality garage doors from the genuine original Overhead Door Company of Sierra Nevada, Reno. Quality service in the heart of Midtown. Look for the red ribbon logo.
Midtown Reno. Experience the difference. Get down to Midtown. Midtown matters.
Business owners and entrepreneurs know that good information is priceless. Just one great idea can make all the difference. Hi, this is Joe Morabito, host of CEO Business Mind. Each week, in one fast-paced hour, we share lots of proven tips and ideas to help you be more successful in business. Don't miss a minute of CEO Business Mind with me, Joe Morabito, right here on 1180 AM KCKQ.
Hi, I'm Noreen Leary, CEO of the Veterans Guest House. Guest House is a home away from home for our veterans and their families who travel to Reno for medical care. Our house is more than just a warm bed. It's a place of camaraderie where veterans can find support and long-lasting friends. We serve veterans, men and women, young and old, Navy, Army, Marines, Coast Guard, and Air Force. Wherever they hail from and whatever their circumstance, the Veterans Guest House is ready to support them. The reason we feel so strongly about our mission is that we know that many veterans would forego their medical treatments because they simply can't afford the accommodations. The Guest House is one of a kind in the country, funded entirely through private donations. Want to know how you can help? There are many ways you can be involved, from volunteering, providing dinners, or supplying items from our wish list. Find out more about the Guest House at www.veteransguesthouse.org. Serving veterans today, tomorrow, and for years to come.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
This is Oliver X. Join me and the superstar Janez Carter weekday mornings from 8 to 9 on the Reno Todd Tonight Show on America Matters Media.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now back to the show.
And welcome back to the fourth and final segment of today's Rush Hour. I'm Kelly Rush, and I'm with Christiana Frank of Christiana Frank Consulting. And, of course, we've got Christian Meyer with us, contributing his pearls of wisdom. And, you know, he doesn't often have, you know, much. I mean, he has tons to say, believe me. You know, he's just so busy and so diligent, you know, just constantly just working and producing brilliance back there. But when he does have something to say, you know, it's a pearl of wisdom. So thank you when you do chime in.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And you know, of course, you know, he knows he's always welcome to chime in when he does have something to say at any time. However,
I have to tell you, what a great day I've had.
Honestly,
hey, I got
too.
to hang out with you for a couple of hours, and I'm just noticing this. You've got this really awesome way where you spread peace in your energy.
Thanks.
And I have been soaking it up. I was telling you before the show, and I just, everyone out there, you're listening to this human who has such a big heart and so much knowledge on a global level, but is just so welcoming and so open. And I was so lucky to hang out with Kelly today. We grabbed a bite to eat, and then we kind of just hang out for a little bit. And because I'm very empathic, meaning I can be an empath and I can block it if I need to or soak it in. But today I made a choice just to let what happens. And I don't think I'm going to forget this day for a long time. I mean, I'm just on the day's ride, and it feels so comfortable.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's amazing that if we could, you know, how the more often, you know, and it's not, of course, always possible, but the more often we can make that choice and you know, get towards being this way as often as possible, the better it gets and the more often we can be this way. You know what I mean? It's
like that repetition in the neuroplasticity we were talking about.
Exactly.
It's just a repetition on something else.
It builds, you know, and it's, you know, energy, that's how energy works. Oh, Kathleen Hanley says, love watching Miss Christiana Frank. I love Kathleen.
Well,
I
thank
can't
you,
wait
Kathleen.
I can't wait to have her on this show. I cannot wait, and can't wait to capitalize on capitalize isn't the right word. I can't wait to just do things with you, Kathleen. Just do things, because the opportunities, you have no idea. There's some amazing things that have just come about and are going to come about and are going to present themselves. And Georgia and Deb and I are meeting tomorrow, Kathleen, at 3:00. And if you can be here, gosh, if there's any way you could be here at 3:00 tomorrow, that would be amazing too. You're welcome to join us, and gosh, that would be great. Bing, light bulb. Woo. Anyway,
more people connecting, the better the world is.
So anyway, this is some behind the scenes stuff that listeners and viewers are kind of getting to peek in on, some some plan making and things that are kind of brewing and, you know, alchemizing, if that's a word, behind the scenes. But anyway, just amazing things are taking place here, you know, at Reno Town Mall, at America Matters Media, in conjunction, all of this. And, you know, spoke with Mark Trujillo, the owner of the Hub, and some ideas were flowing over there. And it just, my favorite word is, one of my all-time favorite words has always been synergy, but that's going to come up a lot in 2020 too.
Yeah, it is weird. And then since even in 2020, I went next door to grab a tea. There's Mark. I haven't seen him in a while. He's talking to me about Lisa. Lisa I went to high school with. Yeah. And so I just find it really interesting when you pay attention about what's coming into your life. And I know a lot of people out there probably have been doing this for years, but being a business owner, a lot of times we're putting information out there, like, look what I can do, or look what how I can help you, right. And so there's a lot of, getting your business started, and that becomes your normal of pushing information out into the world.
And not really focusing it.
Well, I'm not, even if you're focusing it, but you've got this point to put this information in the world, tell people how you can help them. And so your normal becomes putting things out there and a little bit less reception. And it's not on purpose. It's just, how many cells do you have in your body at one time, or how many minutes in the day, and you're trying to support your staff, they're putting food on the, whatever the story is, everybody's story is a little similar.
You're outward, just total outward focus.
Yeah, and so you almost forget sometimes as you're walking to the car in a parking lot or this, just to stop and really put out your peripheral vision and see what's out there that's coming at you that you might be walking straight by. I almost walked right by Mark next door, and then all of a sudden I just kind of took a glance around and I go, oh my goodness, I haven't seen him in years. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's just being focused and aware of what's happening.
Mindfulness.
But it's a skill. It's a learned behavior. It's not something that we're necessarily born with or is just given to us. You have to practice it.
Oh, God, you absolutely. Well, and that's the thing, too. We're born with nothing. Humans, we have no instinct. We have reflexes, but human beings have no instincts. We have to learn everything. The only thing we have are reflexes, like touch, the sucking and we have to be taught almost everything. So, it just, so that's.
Well, that's another question that's been coming up.
Mindfulness is very important.
Another big question that's coming up in my kids program is I'm getting school districts going, please come in and help create a climate of compassion and empathy. And then I started thinking, well, where is it? Where did that go? And then I realized maybe back a little bit before, we weren't so much on the computers and these things, and maybe watching shows and having the conversations about how the shows ended, what the tragedy was around the table.
Oh my goodness.
And that power of conversation at my age taught me compassion and empathy. Reading Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and finding out that he was, quote unquote bullied, but then he ended up as the warrior at the end. That taught me that compassion when I saw similar behaviorisms in school. And now, whether they're taking those things off the shelves, or now if kids are more on video games, I don't know all those answers, but there's a little bit of a lack of compassion and empathy right now.
Well, yes, and the shows, think about, every show we watched as kids, almost every single one of them had a lesson, a meaning, something at the end that either taught you something or brooked conversation.
Yes, and now there's YOLO.
And now they're
oh my gosh.
You say, you're right.
It's disjointed, no beginning, middle, and end, no understanding.
There's hardly plots sometimes. I don't watch TV much anymore, but like you said, it's these video games. It's
the single comments with no way to reply. Like, I don't even think you can reply on YOLO. People just get to talk at you.
There is a marked and distinct lack of empathy and compassion in media entertainment media that these kids are being served. Mm-hmm. So, it's easy to see where it went and how this happened. and the desensitization that's created by this stuff.
And now how do we get it back?
And then add, all the sugar and the processed foods and all that, so I mean, it's just definite, an issue. And that's it. How do we get it back? We must teach them. And it's
over and over again, and reteach them over and over again.
Very stringently. So, applied improvisation is a great way to start, and starting with the adults.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a trickle-down effect, and it's just, things that we have to be mindful of, and just, again,
it can be hard.
But we don't think it's hard. Just it's fun.
The applied improvisation makes it easy. I wasn't suggesting that. I would suggest that's why I love it, and that's why it's my passion, is it makes it easy to build those new neural pathways. I mean, it's kind of hard to go. The difficult part is we get so on these calendars on this time we have to be there and busting through the doors and not giving people eye contact. That it's
But
difficult.
I think we're getting to the point where we recognize it, and we're drawing the line in the sand to where we're going, all right, we've got to do something about this.
Exactly.
And now we're at the point to where we're like, okay, what do we do? And okay, we're going to start doing it.
Yeah.
And we're doing it. I mean,
right here,
we're living proof. So, and we're going to be, we'll do more as the next one gets scheduled, and we'll start promoting that.
And then we've got some listed. There's some at ChristianaFrank.com, and then there's others at the Applied Improv Network of Reno Tahoe, and those are free.
Very good. And we'll be putting those on the Rush Hour radio show page, as well as all the America Matters pages. Christiana Frank, thank you so much for being my guest this evening. And go to ChristianaFrankConsulting.com. Or is it just Christiana Frank? Just ChristianaFrank.com. Very simple. ChristianaFrank.com. And everybody, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Have a great night, everyone.
I love being able to say that.
Thank you so much.
See that every night. See you tomorrow night, Thursday night.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool.